Hello everybody, welcome to this video. I just woke up, so sorry if I sound groggy and kind of annoying, but just felt the need to throw that out there because my voice is always very disgusting whenever I wake up. So yeah, with that out of the way, I know I'm late talking about this, and I say that knowing that nobody gives a fuck about my opinion about anything, but I figured, hey, this would be not cool, I guess, but I guess like a little needed to discuss because this is like such a heavy subject that, you know, I'm not saying I have like the definitive opinion. I just think that people are kind of, you know, going about this in the worst way. So, for those of you who don't know who Hot Diggity Demon is, he is a YouTuber who his name is Max, so I'm gonna call him Max just to not spend 10 seconds saying his username. But Max is an animator on YouTube, and he has done like commentary videos, I guess you could say, about like discussing like very specific topics like Apu from The Simpsons and sometimes politics stuff and all that jazz. So, you know, he's been in the spotlight for years now, pretty much, and you know, I guess he started streaming on his channel. I didn't actually know that, but in one of his latest live streams, he kind of talked about how he had decided to go. I don't remember the country off the top of my head, but he was considering using a thing where it's like assisted suicide, like doctor assisted euthanasia, I'm pretty sure, because he has a disease which oh god, let me see if I can pronounce this. Fibromyalgia. Wait, there's an L in there, god damn it. Fibromyalgia. I'm just gonna refer to this as fibro. I'm sorry. That's a big word. I hate, this is just a side note, I'm sorry, but I hate medical terms so much, like with like diseases and like medicine, because like they always have like the longest names for no reason. It's always aggravating. Anyways, so yeah, the symptoms involve joint and muscle pain, uncontrollable and unexplained drooling, severe trouble sleeping, constant itching, and poor temperature regulation, and tinnitus, brain fog, and shortness of breath. So, we're all in agreement that that sounds horrible, right? And I believe I remember Max saying himself that it just keeps getting worse, which is why, after a long time of consideration, that he has decided to go down his path. This path, because it's just not getting better. Alright? And he has to deal with this on a not just once in a while basis, he has to deal with this daily. If I recall. I'm sorry, I did watch the live stream, but like it's you know, it's been a while, so I'm kinda doing this based on memory of like what he said his first initial live stream about this. So yeah, when he said this stuff like about like the doctor-assisted euthanasia, people online did not take it well, as you could imagine, and they there was like two sides. One, the people who did not want him to be euthanized, to go down this path, because they care very deeply about Max. And this side, this whole thing is a complex situation, because, you know, it's good that there were a lot of people who care about Max, and I myself included. Like, I don't, listen, I don't watch him. I watch his content from time to time, and it's entertained me, and Max seems like a, I mean, not to be parasocial, even though this whole entire situation is kind of parasocial, but, you know, he does seem like a sincere person, and I wish nothing but the best for him. So it's good that people care about him, to the point where, like, they were, like, very upset about his decision with this. Even like people who, know Max personally. But it's tough because they don't have to deal with it like he does. I listed out the symptoms, and it was like a whole bunch of shit that he has to deal with. It's not just one or two things, right? It's a whole amalgamation of everything I just said. Joint muscle pain, uncontrollable and unexplained drooling, severe trouble sleeping, constant itching, poor temperature regulation, tinnitus, brain fog, and shortness of breath. He has to deal with all that every day, and I'm pretty sure, like you said, it's getting worse. So, it's a beautiful thing to see, obviously, that people are, upset and they're wishing him wellness and very upset he's considering going down this path. But you have to remember, this is not like the discussion of like, oh, he's contemplating, suicide from depression, which is an entirely different other subject. This is health related, and I'm a firm believer in that if you're suffering and it's not getting any better, and it's like so terrible, this might be a hot take, but you should be able to like consider like means of like putting yourself out of your misery if like it's not getting better and you're struggling that badly. And when people are just like, don't kill yourself, like, we love you, I get their perspective, and I don't want Max to go down this path either, because it'd be sad and devastating. But on the other hand, he's suffering, and if he's not getting better and he made the decision to do this, then he's a grown-ass man, he's his own person, he should be able to go down this path if he feels like it is the best route for him to take, And it's sad that people don't recognize that. I get people were talking based on, immediate reaction and immediate emotion hearing this news, but I don't think people understand the gravity of the situation that Max is going through himself. And there is another side to the news as well. The side that actually wants him dead, which is fucked up. Like, imagine, you're just a person who's made content. You made some edgy jokes in the past, and then all of a sudden, when you discuss about, everything I've discussed about, there's, like, half the people, pretty much, are just like, yeah, I'm excited about that. Like, I'm happy that he's suffering, and that he should do that. Not because it would end his suffering, but because it would be greater for the world to have him gone. Like, that's fucked up. That's just, I don't think I've ever heard, like, him or watched any of his videos say, like, anything heinous. It's people who have a vendetta about him, even though he said edgy shit in a time period online that was immensely edgy. Like, if you were on the internet pretty much any time before, like, the 2020s, like, I think the 2000s and the early 2010s were the most, like, edgy time periods to be online. That, to the point, like, if you did not say anything edgy, you're like, you're a rarity. Because everyone and their mother was saying some heinous shit. I'm not saying it's okay, and I'm not saying, like, being edgy is bad. Like, I've said some edgy shit pretty much at every point in my life. But I just think people are a little bit too, I guess, sensitive. And they don't allow people to change. Even if Max says some heinous shit, they would not allow him or people like him to change. And that's, like, super fucking annoying. So, with that being said, it's fucked up, obviously, No point to keep glossing over the fact. It's just people who don't know Max personally, such as I, who have a very concentrated opinion about him over, you know, edgy jokes from an edgy time period that he made, and it's just unneeded. So yeah, to continue on with the story, he did another live stream where he kind of talked about everyone's reaction, and it was pretty upsetting, to be honest, all things considered. He kind of talked about how he was no longer considering the assisted euthanasia because of everybody's reaction, and he, it was a thing that made him realize that, maybe I shouldn't do this because people were that upset, and that's fucked. Because he was very upset by it, and understandably so. Pretty much where he was like, it's you guys' fault for what's going to happen to me, because now I'm not going to be able, in good conscience, be able to do this. So now, since that's the case, I'm not going to be able to take myself out the way I wanted to, and I have to instead stay alive and suffer, because it would be a mad conscience if I decided to go down the route of getting euthanized. So now I have to suffer for the rest of my life, for however long that is. That's essentially what he said, and I watched it, and yeah, it's like I said, it was kind of devastating, to say the least. And the one time it's fucked up, but the one time the internet prevents a man from wanting to, I guess, quote unquote, commit suicide is the one time he actually wants to die, and then one time that, I don't mean this in a negative way, but the one time where I think it's kind of like justified, to say the least. Like, he is clearly suffering immensely, and like I said, it's good that people are like trying to be like, we love you, like, don't end it. Like, it's a beautiful thing, don't get me wrong, but like with things like this, you don't understand fully what the person who is making this decision is going through. And I'm not saying I'm an expert, I'm just saying, like, hey, listen, I can only imagine the stuff he's going through, right? And that's kind of like, why I'm just looking at this, and I'm just kind of like, under the what am I under? What I'm trying to think of? I'm just like, let him be his own person, I guess. Just if he wants to do this, then there's no reason why people should be all of this the way they are. And I understand that, like, listen, this is a heavy subject. This is a human life we're talking about, but I am under the bro, I keep saying that phrase like I know what I'm going to say after. But I'm just, we should just allow someone who's dealing with this shit just to be like, yeah, like, I've thought about this long and hard, and this is my decision to do this. And I feel like, we should kind of respect it. To be honest, it's rough, but it's just the way it is. So, yeah, I guess that's essentially it. I felt the need to add my 2 unneeded cents to the discussion, and I'm going to talk to Max parasocially, but I know he's not going to see this ever, but I sincerely hope that if he does decide to not go down the path with the euthanization, I think is the term, then I know it's far-fetched, but I do sincerely hope that he is able to find peace and that things somehow get better. I don't know shit about the fiber thing he has. I don't know if it's like a thing that goes away after a while, or it kind of fluctuates with how long people have it, or if it just stays, but I hope that he's able to find peace in some aspects of his life. I also know that he's dealing with, like, debt, money issues, which is fucked. Like, it's everything is fucked. You know? But, yeah, I mean, that's about it. So, I don't want this video to be like, I want Max to die. That's not what I've been saying at all for the past 15 minutes, right? And I hope that people understand that when they watch this. They're probably gonna watch like 2 minutes in, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, look, hey, stop wishing death on others." It's like, that's not what I'm trying to say. You know, I want the best for Max, but if he's decided to take this route, then who am I as a random internet user, you know, can decide for Max what's best or what isn't best for him, you know? Just, let's all take a step back and just kind of think about the situation long and hard and kind of decide, like, hey, he is kind of going through a lot of shit, a lot of health shit. Maybe it might be a little good if he does probably decide, you know, that's what's best for him. And getting euthanized might be the best path for him. Because, like I said, if he doesn't, he's going to suffer greatly for a long time, for the rest of his life, if he doesn't do this. So, yeah, that's about it. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you want me to know your thoughts, feel free to type out your thoughts in the comments below. But don't be mean. Don't be mean about this. This is I know it's a touchy subject, but don't be like an asshole. I guess I'm only a person who has an opinion about someone who they don't know. But yeah, that'll do it. Bye bye.